What is going on, y'all, and welcome to the Touchdowns to Home Runs SEC Week 3 Pick Show. I'm your host, Noah, and just before we get started in this video of you guys seeing my picks for this week in the SEC, because we got some good games this week, I want all of you who love the SEC as much as I do, doesn't matter if you're in Alabama, Arkansas, Vanderbilt, South Carolina, Ole Miss, or any other SEC team fan, I want you to hit that sub button down below because I promise you, you will love this channel, and I come out with these picks every week. So if you want to see some amazing picks, if you want some expert advice, because I do call myself an expert sometimes, and that might just be me being cocky because I am a Gamecocks fan. I have to be cocky. Or if you want to see some of the absolute worst picks you've ever seen and show all your friends and make a mockery of me, this is definitely the place for you. Depends how you view all of these games. You'll either think that my picks are amazing, probably because you like that team that I picked, or I picked against your team and you think I'm the biggest fool ever, like how I picked South Carolina to beat Florida last week, although I did have good reasoning. It had nothing to do with Florida's talent or South Carolina's talent. It had to do purely with the fact that it was 3-day, something that was put together for Ryan Helinski's brother, that me and the Helinskis put together. That was a very successful day, so I'm very proud of that. But now let's get into my picks for this week. And boy, do we got some good games. Starting off at 12 o'clock on ESPN, we have the Florida Gators, the number 4 Florida Gators, versus the number 21 Texas A&M Aggies in College Station, Texas. Florida beat South Carolina, but only 14 last week, and it got down to the wire. Like, South Carolina had a chance to put up points late. Very, very, very poor managed clock by Will Muschamp in that game. That was brutal. Texas A&M lost to Alabama. They kept it close in the first bit of the game, but then Alabama really opened the scoreboard after that. And then I think the final score was 54, like 24 or something like that for Alabama. Florida's offense, extremely good. Extremely good. The only concern I have is that Florida's offense is extremely good in the first 3 quarters, and then in the fourth quarter, when they think they have a commanding lead, they start to die down a bit. They start to take a step back. That's not going to work when you go and play Georgia, maybe even Tennessee. Who else does Florida play this year? I think they got to play LSU. You have to keep that foot on the gas for the whole game. So that's my only concern with Florida's offense right now, is just keep that foot on the pedal the whole game. Florida's defense definitely does have holes, and it definitely is beatable. But if that offense is able to put up to a level where they're scoring 50 points a game, you're going to win every SEC game. Texas A&M, a really good team. I love Kellen Mond this year. I just think Florida overall has the advantage here talent-wise. Kyle Pitts already has 6 receiving touchdowns. Holy, could a tight end actually win Heisman? Like, this guy is averaging 3 touchdowns a game so far. He's the real deal. I just feel like Florida out-talents Texas A&M. Even though it is in Texas A&M, I'm taking Florida in this game. Sticking with a noon game on SEC Network, we got South Carolina visiting the Vanderbilt Commodores in Nashville, Tennessee. Now, you know I'm a South Carolina fan, but this pick isn't even because of I'm just a South Carolina fan. I got the Gamecocks in this game. I think we're a way more talented team than Vanderbilt, but there's a huge but on this game. If we go into this game thinking and writing off that this is already a win, we are guaranteed going to lose this game. I guarantee you we are going to lose this game if we go in there cocky. Do you get my pun there? If we go in cocky and think that we're going to win this game, I guarantee you we're going to lose this game, because Vanderbilt played a very close game against Texas A&M. Now, they did get smacked last week versus LSU, but I just don't think South Carolina is a sound enough team yet to go in there knowing that they're going to win. I think that will just be a recipe for disaster. So as long as Carolina plays smooth, sound, fundamental football, I'm guessing we're going to still see Colin Hill in there. I hope we see some Ryan Helinski, but I have the Gamecocks winning this game. Next up, we have the big 3:30 CBS game. We got Tennessee at Georgia. Georgia has the big win versus Auburn last week. It was a commanding win. I think the final score was 27-6. Stetson Bennett, he played a pretty good football game. Georgia doesn't need him. The thing is, Georgia does not need Stetson Bennett to be a star quarterback. Stetson Bennett just has to play the role to be good enough to win the game, and that's what he's doing. that's what Stetson Bennett's going in and doing. He's playing well enough to give Georgia the opportunity to win the game and just let the talent around him on offense and defense do the rest. So you got to give it to him. He's getting the job done on Georgia, and he's doing it in a pretty commanding fashion. The fact that they were able to beat Auburn 27-6. Tennessee is also a very good team. They're 2-0, two undefeated teams right here. Tennessee beat Missouri last week. They had a close game against South Carolina a couple Saturdays ago. Tennessee is a good football team, but there are holes on this Tennessee team, and they are a beatable team. Tennessee's a very good team, but just the fact that Georgia's coming off a hot win, Georgia looked like they fixed up a lot of problems that they had from the Arkansas game. I feel really good about Georgia in this game, so I'm going with the Bulldogs. 4 o'clock game, we have it on SEC Network. We got Arkansas visiting Auburn. This is probably the one I've thought the most about because Sam Pittman and the Arkansas Razorbacks go to Mississippi State last week, who was a team who was very highly ranked and very highly talked about after beating LSU, and they go and beat them. And Auburn has that loss to Georgia last week, and the Auburn offense was not doing well at all. That Auburn offense was just brutal against Georgia. Sam Pittman has Arkansas rolling. Felipe Franks has already thrown for 412 yards. Now, I know that isn't the most amount of yards that you could throw as a quarterback. Like, I think KJ Costello already has 936, but they still win. They won their first SEC game since I think it was 2017 last week. So this team has some more juice in the locker room, but I just think Auburn out-talents them, and they're at home. I thought long and hard about picking Arkansas, but at the end of the day, I just can't. So I'm taking Auburn in this game. 6 o'clock on ESPN, we got Alabama at Ole Miss, number 2 Alabama. I was surprised. I thought Alabama had a chance to jump up to number 1, but obviously the AP didn't think so. I thought that Alabama had a very convincing win against Texas A&M, and Clemson still hasn't really played anyone. I know they played Miami this week, but I thought Alabama was going to be number 1. Obviously, I was wrong. They go to Oxford. They've lost in Oxford before. I think it was back in 2014 they lost in Oxford. So it's definitely not an easy place to play. It's not an easy walk-in place to play. Lane Kiffin has the Rebels playing pretty good. I picked the Rebels to beat Kentucky last week in Kentucky, and guess what they do in overtime? Ole Miss is a good football team, especially on their offense, but Alabama, in my opinion, is the best team in the country right now. You just have so many weapons on that offense, and that defense is still good enough to shut down this Ole Miss offense, so I am taking Alabama in this game. 7:30 on SEC Network, we have Mississippi State versus Kentucky. They go to Lexington. This is a very interesting game. You got 0-2 Kentucky versus 1-1 Mississippi State. Mississippi State, coming off of that LSU win, was so highly talked about, and how their offense is next level in the SEC now. And then you go and lose to Arkansas, and you only put up 14 points against them. This game also was very tough for me to pick because Kentucky played a really close game against Ole Miss, and they played a decent game against Auburn, and Kentucky's a team just looking for that win already. Terry Wilson is leading the team in rushing with 171 yards, so he's definitely using his legs. He's thrown for 390 yards. It's a tough game, but I think I'm going with Mississippi State. I think that Leach is going to have the offense fixed for this game after what was a very disappointing week last week against Arkansas after coming off a very high week. I think that all of that talk and everything just got in their heads, and they went into that Arkansas game too confident. But I think that Leach settles his guys down, has a talk with them, that we still got to finish business, and this is a great game. They're playing a decent Kentucky team, so this is a great game to get that locker room believing back again and just knowing that they have to treat every game as they did that one LSU game. So I am taking Mississippi State in this game. Next up, we got a late game, 9 o'clock on ESPN. We got the Missouri Tigers visiting the LSU Tigers, Battle of the Tigers at Death Valley Tiger Stadium. LSU beats Vanderbilt this week. It was a pretty commanding win. I think the final score was like 41-7 or 17, something like that. Missouri plays Tennessee. They lose. I think that LSU really got back on offense last week after the offense wasn't bad, but it wasn't great against Mississippi State, and the defense held Vanderbilt to a pretty low amount of points. So I am taking LSU in this game. I just think they out-talent Missouri. Missouri still needs to figure out a lot on offense for them to be a successful team in the SEC this year. So those are all my picks, guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you love the SEC, I said it at the beginning of the video, if you love the SEC, I need you to hit that sub button down below. Hit that like button, comment anything about any of your favorite SEC teams on this video. I'll try to respond because I love talking SEC football, and I know you guys do too. So definitely stick around for my next week's picks. And I also do a bunch of SEC post-game shows. I do the Gamecocks every week, and then I pick like one game. Last week I did the Auburn-Georgia game. I did a post-game on that. I'm thinking I'm doing Georgia-Tennessee or Florida-Texas A&M this week. Probably Georgia-Tennessee. I'll do a post-game for that. So definitely stick around for that. Thank you for watching, and come back next time.